Today's session will be hosted by him, where he simplifies the entire GST law. What are the recent amendments that came in? So for that, we would like to welcome you all. We are very happy that you're on board. I hope you all had a great New Year's Eve and you're all back from holidays. So yes, what better to start the New Year's, the first month of a new year, other than a session with Bimalji on important changes in the GST law. So I know most of you might be following Bimalji on Instagram or Twitter or YouTube. But for the few of you who would like to know Bimalji a little bit more, I'd like to give a brief intro of him. So he's a member of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India since May 1994 and member of Institute of Company Secretaries of India since December 2006. And he has also graduated with a bachelor's degree in law. He's a qualified SAP financial control consultant and has more than 21 years of experience in indirect taxation and specializes in all aspects of GST, service tax, VAT, CST, centered excise, customs, FTP, SEZ, and EOU. He has working experience of more than 18 years in renowned companies like LG Electronics, Honda Motorcycle and Scooters, Hindustan Development Corporation, Khaitan and Company, and he's presently the executive director of A to Z Tax Corp, a boutique indirect tax firm. So, in addition to his qualifications and his positions, Bimalji has also gained many awards and recognitions. He's been the keynote speaker at Guinness World Record made by ICSI in largest taxation lesson on GST, which where we saw close to 4,500 plus participants, breaking the earlier record of Japan. He's also received a Business Leader Award from Amity School, Noida, Best Speaker Award from NIRC, ICAI, and ICWAI. Young Achievers Award at Igniting Minds 2015, Best Participant Award in MSOP, 117th batch of by the ICSI. Over to you, Bimalji, for taking the session forward.
Thank you, Harsini, for lovely introduction. And let me greet each one of you, and Harsini to you and a whole team of Zoho. A very happy new year. Very first program on 12th of January, first month, and we are going to discuss 10 important changes in GST, which is worth noticing for compliances in 2023. Hope I'm audible to all of you. So if you can just say yes in a chat box that I'm audible, my audio visuals are going fine, I will start immediately. Thank you. So much of yes coming in the chat box. So nice. Thank you very much. And as we have discussed in the past, today also, I really want participation by each one of you. On chat, whenever I'm posting a query, you must be answering those queries. Whether you know or you do not know, do not stop yourself. Try to answer whatever coming to your mind. And I will make it easy for all of you that what is the provision, what is the implication, and what is the way forward, and what is my opinion. I will definitely share with each one of you. So let me start today's session, 10 important topic. It will take a longer time, more than an hour. So I really want you should concentrate, take a cup of tea or coffee with you, relax on your chair and enjoy this session with no technical provision, no PowerPoint presentation. I really want that you should just relax, cool, calm down, but should be chatting with me on the chat box so that our chat box is active and we can understand each other well. Let me start with very first topic of the day. And this is not a new topic. Believe me, not a new topic. We are getting a lot of scrutiny notices and so-called notices since GST got introduced July 1, 2017. And topic H. As a registered person in GST, I'm availing credit, right? I'm availing credit. And for availing credit, what are the conditions? I should have tax invoice, receive goods and services. My supplier must have paid taxes, and being recipient and buyer, I'm regularly filing GST return. And fifth condition got introduced only from 1st January 2022. And that was that credit must match with GSTR 2B. We are getting scrutiny notices, so-called notices, and even we have seen GST Council is also recognizing this issue as a burning topic and issuing a circular number 183. But before I start this, I want to have your opinion, your view. I have taken credit, let's say in my GSTR 3B of 10 lakh rupees. But credit auto-populated in my GSTR 2A is only 5 lakh rupees. So there's difference of 5 lakh rupees. And reason could be that supplier has wrongly furnished B2B supply as a B2C supply. Supplier has wrongly furnished the GST number of recipient or buyer. Let's say supplier has paid the taxes through GSTR 3B, but he did not file GSTR 1. It is not going to be auto-populated in GSTR 2A of the recipient or buyer. Maybe a case, it is interstate supply, assume Delhi to Maharashtra or Delhi to Tamil Nadu. I charge IGST, supplier charge IGST, getting, you got tax invoice for IGST, supplier has paid IGST, but he has wrongly furnished this transaction intrastate while filing his GSTR 1. So this credit would be coming in 2A but ineligible. But my question to all of you, we are getting scrutiny notices, so-called notices, that credit not matching with 2A. With a credit in GST, question to all of you, it's really dependent on GSTR 2A, and for which we are getting lot many notices say yes and no in a chat box. Do you think whether my credit is really dependent on 2A? Okay. So there are some maximum answer no, but some of you are still answering yes. They are saying yes, credit is dependent on 2A. My answer to all of you, credit in the hands of buyer and recipient. If you have got so-called notices or scrutiny notices, you should reply back to the proper officer, sir. My credit is not dependent on 2A, not dependent. Reason number 1, there is no provision in GST law act which is talking about that credit should match with GSTR 2A. Yes, we know that credit should match with GSTR 2B, and it came only from 1st January 2022. So I can always say there's no provision in the act. 2A came by way of rule only, There was no corresponding provision. And rule cannot override the provision of the act. Second. Third, there's Supreme Court judgment Bharti Airtel. And as per this judgment, it is being held by Honorable Supreme Court, GSTR 2A is only facilitation. Only facilitation. If you are satisfying the condition of section 16, subsection 2, then you can avail the credit. No one is stopping. 2A is only facilitation. So I've given you 3 arguments. Now, GST Council has recognized this particular problem. 48 GST Council meeting. And in 48 GST Council meeting, they have said they will come out with certain solution. What solution they have given? They have issued one circular. And through circular, they are saying, circular number 183, and they are saying, Bimal, we are going to resolve the issue of 2017-18 and 18-19. First of all, to my mind, is it only problem of 17-18 and 18-19? This problem could be in 19-20 also, 20-21 also. The supplier has made the mistake, wrongly furnished B2B as a B2C, wrongly furnished the GST number, interstate shown as a intrastate. He may have paid the taxes through 3B, but did not file GSTR1. Problem could be in 19-20 onwards as well. But they are giving some solution by way of circular, and circular number 183 for 17-18 and 18-19. What this circular is saying, listen carefully. This circular is saying if difference of credit availed in 3B versus GSTR 2A, if it is more than 5 lakh rupees, more than 5 lakh rupees, 5 lakh rupees, then they are saying you need to get certificate from your practicing chartered accountant or cost accountant. And what he will do? What he will do? He will certify that this supplier has paid the taxes. And on this certification, if you are satisfying the twin condition, section 16, subsection 2, 4 condition, having invoice, receipt of goods and services, your supplier has paid taxes, and being recipient, you are filing regularly GST return. And on this certificate, by practicing chartered accountant or cost accountant, your so-called notices or scrutiny notices going to be adjudicated, and this dispute pertaining to 3B versus 2A, 2A versus 3B will go away. If difference is up to 5 lakh rupees, 5 lakh rupees, then you need to take certificate from the supplier that he has paid the taxes. And you as a recipient satisfying the condition, section 16, subsection 2 and section 16, subsection 4, time limit. So you must have availed the credit for 17-18 by 31st March 2019. And for 18-19, it is by 20th October 2019. So you should satisfy 4 condition of section 16, subsection 2 with the time limit, and this the self-certification which is given by the supplier towards payment of taxes. You have to get such certificate from the supplier. Then only this problem of 17-18 and 17-18 and 18-19 going to be solved. But I have got certain question in my mind for which they are not saying anything. The question number one. It is not only the problem of 17-18 and 18-19, right? All of you will agree with me. This problem may be even beyond 18-19. Second, when a supplier has paid the taxes, how does chartered accountant or cost accountant will certify? I'm just creating one example, and this is practical problem. Listen very carefully. As a buyer, as a recipient, you may see the status of 3B filed by the supplier. It's filed. But can we say that by seeing the status of supplier 3B filed, can I assume The supplier has included my relevant invoice while furnishing the details of 3B and paid the taxes can be said with authority because there is no invoice-wise matching and corresponding payment of tax. Am I right? Say yes and no in a chat box. Do you feel this challenge? Yeah, this is a problem, practical problem. And they are saying this is to be certified by chartered accountant or cost accountant. And third problem could be if difference is up to 5 lakh rupees, they are saying you should take certificate from the supplier. If supplier is non-existent, what happened? Where I will go? He's not available now for 17, 18, 18, 19. He was filing everything, GSTR 1, 3B, everything. But today is non-existent. And there's some dispute going on with respect to suppliers because he has not filed the return regularly. Some dispute. How we can get all such dispute verified and that too certified by that defaulting supplier? Am I not right? Say yes in a chat box. Am I not right? Say in a chat box. So these are the practical problem and they are saying so. So conclusion from my side, which you can take. If there is difference between 2A and 3B, you should not bother. Second, this circular which is giving advantage for 17, 18 and 18, 19, if you can get it done, okay, take the advantage. Second. Third, to me legally, my credit in the hands of buyer and recipient is not dependent on GSTR 2A. For the reason, no provision in the Act. It is only by way of rule. So period prior to 1st January 2022, department cannot insist that it should match with GSTR 2A. Post 1st January 2022, of course, it has to be checked whether matching with 2B or not. But I give another presentation also and I said credit coming in 2B does not mean that all credit is available. And credit not coming in 2B does not mean that credit is not available. That videos are available which you can watch later. But post facto 1st January 2022, credit should be matched with GSTR 2B. Supreme Court judgment 2A only facilitation. So my credit is not dependent on GSTR 2A. So whatever this circular is saying, I'm of the opinion, in my humble submission, they can't bar, they can't deny if credit is not matching with GSTR 2A. Am I clear to all of you? Please, am I clear to all of you? Say yes in a chat box. I will move to the next point then. All right, perfect. Come to the next point now. I'm a supplier. Listen very carefully. I'm a supplier. I'm filing my GSTR 1. And while filing GSTR 1 on GST and Common Portal, you will agree with me that during daytime, GST and Common Portal sometime, lagging, not accepting, and we are not in a position to smoothly file our return, right? So when I was filing my GSTR 1, my liability was only 1 lakh rupees. Outward liability was only 1 lakh rupees. When I was filing this GSTR 1 and trying to submit and file, it was not going, one extra zero got added. And by the time I clicked the filed, it got filed. So liability was only 1 lakh. Extra zero got added by mistake, and it got filed. So now as per GSTR 1, liability is showing 10 lakh rupees. But liability is only 1 lakh rupees. So when I pay the liability through GSTR 3B, quite obvious, I will pay only 1 lakh rupees. So what is the position of this difference of 9 lakh rupees. My question to all of you, I'm asking, please tell me, whether this 9 lakh can be recovered by the department without issuance of so-called notice under section 73 or 74. Say yes and no in a chat box. Possible? कर सकते हैं क्या ये लोग? Doable? Can they do that? Please tell me in a chat box. So lot of yes, lot of no. Okay, all right. So a lot of you are saying yes and no, then very good. We have to listen very carefully now. Interesting topic, right? Listen. I was talking to them and telling them, sir, what provision you have made. For your information, 75 section 75 subsection 12 explanation got added and made effective from 1st January 2022. And they are saying, Bimal, it is a self-assessment tax. And it can be recovered even without issuance of so-called notice under section 73 or 74. I was telling them, sir, this error is human. Why can't you allow some time so that I can correct my GSTR 1? I was telling them. But what they said to me, Bimal, you do not know why we have made this provision. So department side, they are saying they have made this provision for the region. There are certain unscrupulous taxpayer who used to file GSTR 1 with 10 lakh rupees intentionally, though their liability was 1 lakh rupees. Just to pass on the credit, fake credit to the buyer and paying the tax of 1 lakh rupees only. So we wanted to stop them. For that reason, we have brought this provision. Oh. So they wanted to create deterrent measure against those unscrupulous taxpayer. But here they have created provision, and quite sure you will agree with me. These provisions at ground level by GST officer, they will apply in any manner whatsoever to their satisfaction. They will say, difference, now come, either you pay or I'm going to issue this recovery notice without 73 and 74. This is not correct. This is not correct. This is going against genuine and honest taxpayer, isn't it? Now, let me tell you 2-3 things here. I want to really explain these things very carefully to all of you. And you have to listen very carefully to me. They have introduced now 48 GST Council meeting has recognized and recommended. Corresponding change is being prescribed in Rule 88C of CGST rules. And what this rule is saying, listen very carefully, and then accordingly we will move further. And listen very carefully. Though you are writing, all of you are started writing in a chat box, don't write. Listen first carefully. They are saying when there is difference between 1 and 3B, they will issue a notice which can be deficiency memo in part A of DRC 01B, 01B for difference in 1 versus 3B. So what you have to do now? Within 7 days, listen very carefully. Within 7 days, now you have to reply in part B. Either you pay the differential tax along with interest, or you reply in part B of DRC 01B. Within 7 days, if you don't reply and don't pay, they can initiate recovery proceedings under section 79. Oof. I can't understand all this thing. Believe me, I can't understand. And let me tell you, I will give you certain provision within the GST law, which is giving me a window window, legal window, that I can always rectify any omission and error. And listen these argument, and I can tell you this rule 88C is ultra vires beyond the provision of law. We can definitely file a writ petition. Let me tell you the reason number one, section 37 for GSTR 1. Time period is prescribed for any rectification of any omission or error in GSTR 1, which was earlier till September of next financial year following the end of financial year. So if I'm talking about 22-23, then as per earlier provision, it was September 23, but now it is 30th November 23. I can do rectification of any omission or error in my GSTR 1. 37 is permitting me. How you can create contradictory rule? Second, why such rule? When there is section 61, scrutiny notices, right? And section 61, scrutiny notices 1 versus 3B, proper officer will issue ASMT 10, which is already there. Now you're bringing another rule and saying DRC 01B, pay within 7 days, recovery then by 79. Is it not contradictory? To my mind, this rule 88C, to my mind, it's ultra vires. Please tell me, hope you have understood the argument of section 61 and argument of section 37. Am I clear? First say in a chat box you have understood my part. First say yes in a chat box. All right. So what I'm trying to explain what is the provision and what is the way forward to all of us together. Now, we have seen in the past that supplier used to make a lot of mistake. Like I discussed two-way, right? Because supplier's fault, it was not getting auto-populated in GSTR two-way. Because of supplier's fault, he has paid the taxes through 3B, but he did not file GSTR 1. It was not auto-populated in GSTR 2A. So recipient and buyer was having challenge. That supplier's fault, it was not coming in 2A. And maybe supplier has not paid the taxes. Lot many factors are credit in the hands of buyer and recipient. Credit in the hands of buyer or recipient was always disputed. Now, third topic of the day, sequential filing of GST return. Let me tell you, in time to come, 6 months to 12 months, this problem going to be resolved. In GST, the credit in the hands of buyer and recipient is dependent on supplier. And your supplier should be tax compliant. If you really want to avail credit, you have to make sure your supplier is tax compliant. And there are certain provision within the GST law is now being made effective, which will smoothen this credit part. But credit will always be dependent on supplier, and supplier need to be tax compliant. So you should know your supplier. What are the provision? Provision number 1. Rule 59 sub rule 6 of CGST rule, clearly saying I'm in the month of January, right? 12th of January. I want to file GSTR 1, let's say for January. But rule 59 sub rule 6 is saying, Bimal, you will be able to file GSTR 1 of January only when you have paid your taxes of December up to December through GSTR 3B. So provision rule 59 sub rule 6, you pay taxes to 3B till preceding tax period December if you want to file GSTR 1 for the month of January. So payment of tax made condition for filing GSTR 1. Come to 75 subsection 12, which I discussed with all of you. Difference between 1 and 3B is a self-assessment tax. Rule 88C. Quite obvious, you will agree that mistake can happen once or twice or thrice maximum, but not repeatedly. So whatever difference we have seen for the past period at repeated occasion will go away because these are deterrent provision. So there will not be any difference of 1 versus 3B because every taxpayer would be little cautious about it, right? 7512. Come to section 37. Sometime we have seen that the supplier paying the taxes to 3B but not filing GSTR 1, right? So what 37 is saying now, Bimal, if you want to file GSTR 1 for January, make sure that all GSTR 1 is being filed till December. So the problem that paid the taxes but did not file GSTR 1 will go away. And I have to ensure I file my GSTR 1 till December. Then only I can file GSTR 1 for January. Come to section 39, CGST Act. Clearly saying, Bimal, if you want to file GSTR 3B under 39 for January, make sure you're filing GSTR 1 first for January. Then only your 3B get enabled. So what happened? I'm filing 1, then 3B gets enabled for filing, for payment of tax. So the dispute and problem of differences over a period of time will go away. And one more recommendation which is made by GST Council in 48th meeting. They are going to prescribe time period, maximum time period, 3 years for filing GST return. Applicable for GSTR 3B as well. So this longer time period you have not paid the taxes will not be available. So these are the provision which is giving sequential filing of GST return. And supplier who was defaulting will get minimized and reconciled over a period of time. And then we can always say that whatever status coming as a filed in 2B or 2A, that will be as good as he has considered all the invoices, whatever he has disclosed in GSTR 1. Hope I'm clear to all of you. Please tell me in a chat box, you got my point. Please tell me in a chat box, you got this particular point, third point. Perfect, perfect. So my audience is really good today. They're getting so quickly and sharp. Very well. Thank you very much. Coming to the fourth point. See, repetition of all the points would be very, very difficult. Tejas, ultra vires means beyond the provision of law. Rule cannot be made unless there is corresponding provision. That is the reason we say rule are ultra vires, beyond the provision of law. Tejas, I hope I'm clear. So I'm trying my best. And if you say repetition, believe me, in 10 topic, then I will not be able to give you the 10 topic. This video would be available later, so you can watch it. So Ravi Jain, section 38, I have not discussed as yet. I'm discussing the important aspect, then I will come to section 38. So kindly allow. Shall I proceed now? Say yes in a chat box once again. Say yes. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. If something you have not understood, this video would be available, which you can watch later also. Okay. Come to the next point. and which is very interesting, again, the pan-India dispute and problem. You as a buyer, as a recipient, I'm your supplier. I supplied from Delhi to Tamil Nadu, 10 lakh rupees, charge IGST 18%, and you have paid the amount to me also. You have paid the amount to me. I did not deposit with the government exchequer. Even after collecting the tax, I have not deposited with government exchequer. So I'm the defaulter. Supplier is the defaulter. I'm asking one question to all of you. Whether your credit can be denied, whether department can demand reversal of credit from the buyer, from the recipient, for the fault of supplier of non-payment of taxes. Please tell me, possible yes and no? Lot of yes, lot of no. And listen very carefully. Somebody is saying possible, some saying no, but they are demanding it. Listen now, carefully listen. And that is what I wanted you to take a note of it. And how to defend. See, you as a buyer, as a recipient, paid the amount to the supplier. And supplier has not deposited. If it is demanded from the buyer or recipient, it would be double penalty on the buyer. Genuine and honest buyer. First, you have paid the amount to me. And second, you need to reverse, and that along with interest. Why can't department take action against the defaulting supplier? Isn't it? We all would be looking the department should take action against the defaulting supplier. Am I right in saying so? Listen very carefully. And I will give you some good food for thought today. Good food for thought. In pre-GST era, also this was a dispute. This was the dispute, pre-GST era. Honorable Supreme Court in the case of KK Industries Limited has held that credit, Sanvet credit for central excise portion can't be denied for fault of supplier of non-payment of taxes. Honorable Supreme Court judgment, pre-GST era. Maximum High Court judgment for the VAT regime clearly saying credit can't be denied for the fault of supplier of non-payment of taxes, except Bombay High Court judgment. Mahalakshmi Cotton case. In GST regime, one of the judgment coming from Madras High Court, D.Y. Bethel Enterprises, D.Y. Bethel Enterprises. In GST regime, department wanted buyers, recipient to reverse credit along with interest, penalty for the fault of supplier of non-payment of taxes. That was department contention. And in that particular judgment, petitioner argued before Honorable Madras High Court, Milord, department has given registration to both the parties, to supplier and to the recipient. Why they only come and demand reversal from the buyer? Why can't they go and catch hold, neck of defaulting supplier? Because they have given registration to supplier also. Why can't they do that first? Honorable Madras High Court has given favorable judgment and said, unless department take action against the defaulting supplier, they can't demand reversal from the buyer. One more argument was taken in this particular judgment, which is called doctrine of impossibility. Lex non cogit ad impossibilia. What is this? Listen very carefully. You as a buyer, as a recipient, has paid the amount to the supplier. Until GSTR 2A came into the picture, and which came sometime beginning of January 2019. You as a buyer, you as a recipient was not knowing even that your supplier, even after collecting the tax, is not depositing the tax because 2A was not available. So how come you as a recipient buyer would be knowing that this defaulting supplier, even after collecting the tax, is not depositing the tax? Even I can take this argument further. Even 2A came into the picture. I discussed just a while ago. Just status coming as a file 3B filed. Can we say that the supplier has included that relevant invoice, your invoice for payment of tax? Can't be said unless sequential filing of GST return get introduced, which I've already explained. So even 2A coming in is not the guarantee that supplier has paid the taxes. So burden of proof under section 155, what you will do as a buyer, you did your due diligence part. You did everything possible from your side. So to my mind, even after 2A, you can't say with the certainty and conformity that the supplier has paid the taxes. But now I'm going to tell you one important aspect, very good aspect to all of you. Section 41, subsection 2. Section 41, subsection 2. Listen very carefully. And it is very, very interesting, and you will love this particular argument. What is 41 subsection 2? It is a clause which got substituted. It's a prospective clause got substituted by Finance Act 2022 and effective from 1st of October 2022. So what is this 41 subsection 2? 41 subsection 2 is saying if supplier has defaulted in payment of tax, then you as a buyer need to reverse credit along with interest. And whenever it is paid by the defaulting supplier, you can re-avail the credit. Why this 41 subsection 2, which is prospective clause, effective from 1st October 2022, is being prescribed and now part of GST law? I can tell you why they have done it. Because they will go back, department will go back to the court and will say, my lord, DY Bethel, without taking any action against the defaulting supplier, they will go to your place and say, now 41 subsection 2. You need to reverse. Provision existing, my lord. I'm demanding because there's the provision for the reversal, which was not there, right? That the department going to argue. What I will do as a tax professional and taxpayer, I will also rely on same provision and say to the court, my lord, 41 subsection 2 is a prospective clause. If any dispute prior to 1st October 2022, hope all of you are listening, any dispute prior to 1st October 2022, you can't demand reversal because reversal is now being authorized only from 1st October 2022. So prior to that, you can't demand reversal. Of course, you can say credit is not available because supplier has not paid the taxes. And I will go to the court and argue, go and collect the tax from the defaulting supplier. I hope I'm clear to all of you. Please tell me in a chat box. Please tell me in a chat box, you got it? You got it, the point which I made to all of you? Okay, say yes. All right. Perfect. Thank you very much. All right. Got it. Listen now. Listen now. They have introduced Rule 37A by notification number 26/2012. Now they are saying, Bimal, If supplier has filed GSTR 1, and he did not pay taxes through GSTR 3B till September of next financial year pertaining to relevant financial year. So for understanding sake, transaction is pertaining to 22-23. Supplier has filed one coming in your 2A or 2B, but he hasn't paid the tax. Then this Rule 37A is saying that this defaulting supplier must pay the liability to 3B by 30th September in the next financial year. If he's not paying the liability, then being buyer or recipient, you will reverse credit through your GSTR 3B by 30th November 23. If you don't do, interest is leviable and interest rate is 18% per annum. And once it is paid by the defaulting supplier, subsequently, you can re-avail the credit. And for re-availing credit, no time limit condition as per section 16, subsection 4. But as I want to conclude that prior to 1st October 2022, if I look at 41 subsection 2, then they can't demand reversal. Of course, dispute may arise that supplier has not paid the taxes, credit not available. You go back and catch hold of defaulting supplier, and that's what the judgment of D.Y. Bethel Enterprises and pre-GST era judgment. Hope I'm clear to all of you. Please tell me, am I clear to all of you? After 30th September, of course, you will get the credit, but after 30th September, first you reverse and then re-avail the credit. Okay. It is not circular, Mr. Pratik Jain. I said that there is a specific rule which is being notified in this regard, Rule 37A. All right. Listen now, next part. Listen very carefully. This is the fifth topic of the day. Sometime, and which you will agree that I'm a supplier, right? We do not require any clarification, but still they come back and give the clarification. We don't, two topics I'm going to discuss now, where we don't want any clarity, please. But I do not know, they complicate it and then come out with a clarification. Listen carefully. I've raised the invoice for 10 lakh rupees to you. I'm a supplier in Delhi. You all are my buyer in Tamil Nadu. 10 lakh, 18% IGST. If as a recipient, you fails to pay, as a recipient, as a buyer, you fails to pay within 180 days from the date of invoice, then as per second proviso of section 16, subsection 2 is saying you need to reverse credit. Am I right? You need to reverse credit. Now, let me explain this part, what they have clarified under Rule 37, Sub-Rule 1. They have made amendment by this notification number 26/2022. What amendment they have done, which was not required at all. Listen, let's say you have paid 5 lakh rupees to me as against 10 lakh. And on 5 lakh, you have paid 18% IGST. So there is part payment. Question was, when you have made the part payment to me, do you require to reverse whole credit or pro rata credit? Please tell me. Whole credit or pro rata credit? Please tell me. Whole credit or pro rata credit? Pro rata. And we were following this provision for long. But now they're saying there's some problem. We are clarifying to you. Oh, we are making amendment. Oh, thank you very much. Agar aapne nahi kiya hota, then pro rata. Now listen, when I'm discussing this topic, let me touch base some more component to it. This second provision of section 16 subsection 2 is not applicable. So as a buyer, as a recipient, you need not require to reverse. There are certain specific situation number 1, and you should give me the answer in a chat box. So quick, let me see how many of you quickly can answer to me in a chat box. Rapid fire question. Let me also enjoy with all of you. Sometime you are picking up so fast in a chat box. Let me check now how quickly you can answer it. Question H. If it is RCM liability and you as a recipient need to pay, whether this second provision of section 16 subsection 2 applicable, say yes and no. Say yes and no. Not applicable. Okay. There's one hers saying yes. So hers stands corrected. हर्ष आपको करेक्ट होना पड़ेगा, ठीक है ना? चलिए. Even import, rightly said Manu. Second, if it is schedule 1 transaction without consideration, so stock transfer of goods between distinct person, whether the second provision section 16 subsection 2 applicable, please tell me, applicable. Say yes and no. And still there's one guy. So Jaideep Mitra is saying yes. There are a lot many saying yes. Answer is not applicable. Not applicable. For simple reason. Schedule 1 transaction is without consideration. Why there would be condition for making payment of value? Okay, that is the logic. So Mohan Kumar Seturaman, hope you got my answer now. Listen next. There are some ARAP transaction. ARAP means what? I sold for 10 lakh to you. You also sold me for 5 lakh rupees. So they are ARAP adjustment. 10 lakh I sold to you. You sold something to me for 5 lakh rupees. Only net 5 lakh to be paid. So whether reversal required to the full or pro rata up to 5 lakh. Please tell me. Required for full or pro rata? Please tell me. Pro rata. Pro rata. All right. Thank you very much. Very good. Last one. Section 15, subsection 2, clause B. Valuation. And for this, you should listen very carefully. Let's say contract. I'm your contractor. I'm undertaking construction of your mall, a new mall or factory or office building. Contract worth 100 crore rupees, 100 crore rupees, which I will do everything material and services. It is obligation, liability of the supplier. But you as a client, you as a recipient, as a buyer, was not, relying on me on quality of material. So what you did, you purchased cement and iron steel from the market. You're a Reliance Industries Limited. You purchased cement and iron steel from the market and paid the GST worth 50 crore. And that you provided to me FOC, free of cost, to the supplier. 100 crore, it was obligation of supplier to purchase cement and iron steel, but you purchase as a client, as a recipient, you purchase from the market and provided FOC to me. Then you will pay net amount 50 crore to me. Am I right? Though contract was 100 crore. So supplier going to raise the invoice to you. And I'm supposed to get only 50 crore, right? But for valuation provision, section 15, subsection 2, clause B, whether this supplier need to charge GST on 50 crore or 100 crore, please tell me. Say yes and no. Say yes and no. 50 crore or 100 crore? 50 crore or 100 crore? 100 crore. 100 crore. 100 crore. because it was supplier's obligation. Supplier's obligation. That is what 15(2)(b. But you as a buyer will pay only 50 crore to me because that is only net payable. Am I right? So to that extent, it is not fails to pay. And the second proviso of section 16 subsection 2 is not applicable. Have you understood it? I said from 15(2)(b and referred to second proviso. To that extent of 50 crore, this provision, okay. Hope everyone got it. Perfect, perfect. Thank you very much. Since this was the issue on construction, let me also take two more tests. First test. You as a Reliance Industries purchase cement and iron steel, right? GST charged to you. GST charged to you. Can you avail credit because it's for construction of immovable property? Can you avail credit? Say yes and no. You can't avail credit. Can't. Now you're giving me FOC to the supplier, and supplier including this value because of 15(2)(b and will charge GST on works contract services to Reliance Industries. Can you avail credit? Please tell me, say yes and no. Credit is not available unless that Safari retreats judgment, which is pending sub judice before Honorable Supreme Court. Credit is not available. So what is the tax planning? Whenever you are giving FOC supplies to your supplier, have separate contract. Do not make the part of supplier's obligation. Separate it out. If it is not supplier's obligation, then you need not require to include in valuation for the chargeability of GST. And thereby you could have saved this GST component because this is cascading because of barring under section 17 subsection 5 clause C and clause D of CGST Act. Am I clear to all of you? Please say. Am I clear to all of you? Say yes and no in a chat box. Okay, so perfect. All right. Let me take another part here so that I can conclude this part. So a lot of yes coming in. This provision force majeure clause, right? Force majeure is beyond the control. 180 days is the sacrosanct from date of invoice, due from date of invoice. Please tell me, when there is a force majeure clause and we have seen the COVID time period, when there was a failure for number of region, financial acute crunch and contract contain force majeure clause beyond the control. Can we say recipient fails to pay, hence reversal applicable? Say yes and no. Force majeure clause. Can you say recipient fails to pay? No, you can't say that. You can't say that. No reversal required. Second situation. Supplier and recipient both comes together. There is no force majeure clause in the contract. No force majeure clause in the contract. Supplier and recipient both comes together. And they they negotiate a fresh date. And a fresh date is beyond 180 days. So we both are coming together and deciding a fresh date. Or we can say that the credit term for a particular contract is 1 year credit term agreed by both the parties. Can we say recipient fails to pay within 180 days, hence reversal required? Say yes and no in a chat box. Tell me in a chat box, can we say that? So to my mind, no. But we need to make it documented. So Subhas Agrawal ji, it is 180 days as per provision of law, no denial. But you have to also read Subhas bhai, recipient fails to pay. Fails to pay need to be satisfied, right? Sometime credit term, Subhas bhai. 1 year. It is agreed between both the parties. Can we say recipient fails to pay? This is also need to be satisfied, and we need to read whole provision in conjunction with each other. Subhash ji, and to all. Am I clear to all of you? Please tell me in the chat box. Am I clear to all of you? Though I refer to Mr. Subhash, but mean for all of us together. All right. Okay. This was one part of the story. Perfect. Next clarification which they have done, and for which department started dispute. And listen very carefully, what is the clarification they have given. I'm registered in Delhi. Unless I got one order from my USA client. He wanted certain goods to be supplied. And be ready on chat box. Quick fire questions. So customer at US is placing an order to Bimal Jain, registered in Delhi. He wants certain supply of goods. So what I did, instead of supplying from Delhi to US, I have identified the vendor in Korea. Now this vendor is directly supplying from Korea to US and billing to Bimal Jain in India at $100. Carefully, huh? And Bimal Jain raising sell invoice to the customer for $120. And let me ask question one after another. Quick fire question. In Bimal Jain books, there is purchase $100 from Korea supplier. Tell me whether GST or custom duty leviable, say yes and no. Whether GST, custom duty leviable. It is not high seas, please. No, it is not high seas. Custom duty including IGST not leviable for the region because goods are not entering into the custom frontier of India for that region. So $100 on purchase side of PL account, Bimal Jain, no GST. Now Bimal Jain raising invoice for $120 to US customer. Is it export, first of all? Say yes and no. Is it export? Say yes and no. Is it not export? It is not export. Export means when goods are taken from India to a place outside India. Taken from India to a place outside India. It is not export of goods. Please, stands corrected. Second question. With this, whether this $120 revenue coming on credit side of my PL account, GST leviable, say yes and no. Yes and no. GST leviable. So a lot of you are no, some of you are yes. No GST. It is called third country transaction, merchant transaction. And this is specifically included in Schedule 3, neither a supply of goods nor supply of services, including high sea sale and including sell in custom bonded warehouse. 3 transaction, third country, Korea to US, high sea sale and bonded sell, custom bonded warehouse sell. These are part of Schedule 3, neither a supply of goods nor supply of services. No GST leviable. But this amendment was made in Schedule 3 from 1st February 2019. 1st February 2019. So what department started doing? Department started issuing so-called notice for the period prior to 1st February 2019. And they say, Bimal, this amendment has come only from 1st February 2019 and onwards. I can give you the relief only 1st February 2019 and onwards. Prior to that, I will not give you any benefit. And you have to pay GST. I'm asking you, even though this amendment was prospective. Can GST be levied prior to 1st February 2019? Say yes and no. No GST, no way. It is not chargeable at all. This amendment was explanatory, applicable with retrospective date, but they can't read good enough, fortunate enough. GST Council coming forward in 48 GST Council meetings saying, Bimal, no GST, even for the prior period, and this amendment is applicable from 1st July 2017. Oh, so good. Highly appreciated. Highly appreciated. But what is not appreciated, listen now this part. What they are saying, now this amendment is to be read with retrospective date 1st July 2017, pakka, no problem. So no GST leviable. But those who have paid the GST for this period, July 1, 2017 to 31st January 2019, they will not get the refund. They will not get refund. Irony of this country, isn't it? If no GST leviable and you have collected the GST, is it not violation of Article 265 without authority of law? To my mind, we can always claim refund if we have paid the GST. Violation of Article 265. Are you getting my point? And second point, what coming out, being honest in GST is a problem. Being honest in GST is a problem. You should litigate the matter. You should dispute the matter. If you have disputed this matter and did not pay the GST because you disputed, you're getting relief applicable retrospectively. So I don't know. This is not correct. I'm vocal about it. This is not correct. Coming to the last component of this part, this particular issue. So $120 is not chargeable to GST. A lot of you have understood it now. But there may be common ITC, right? Common ITC. Your rent, your so many telephone charges, mobile charges, on which you have paid the GST. So the inward supply on which you have paid the GST, common ITC, common ITC. So $120, you're not paying GST. Do you require to reverse as per rule 42 and 43, common ITC pertaining to this $120? Renu has said yes. Renu was first one, reversal required. Regin Jain is saying reversal is required. My dear friends, no reversal. No reversal. 17 subsection 3 is clearly saying no reversal required pertaining to schedule 3 transaction except para 5, which is sale of land and building. Please stands corrected. So I given you the value addition also. Hope I'm clear. Say yes in a chat box that you all are clear. Say yes in a chat box that you are clear. Perfect. All right. 3-4 point left out. Let me take those pointers as well. You know that GST was demanded on residential property let out to the registered person, and that too under RCM from 18 July 2022. And dispute was if any proprietor, any individual who is having proprietorship firm and registered in GST, and if he's taking residential property on rent for residential dwelling for his own personal purpose, he's registered because of his PAN being proprietorship firm, but taking residential property for his personal residential purpose. Do we require to pay GST under RCM I don't know. They can't understand. They can't understand. First, they complicate it and then they come out and clarify it. And that too, when judgment comes, Honorable Delhi High Court has said no GST in that case. No GST with the question of RCM. So at least clarified. No GST. Next point is ocean freight. Very much interesting point. You know, from 1st October 2022, outbound, when goods are moving from India to outside India, ocean or through air, ocean freight or air freight. Ocean freight 5%, air freight 18%. But dispute was place of supply and whether credit is available or not available. Now listen, what was the dispute? Listen very carefully. Let's say I'm your freight forwarder in Delhi, and you all are my client registered in Delhi. We both are in Delhi. I'm undertaking transportation of goods from India to Germany. So goods are destined to Germany. Now, when I'm going to raise the invoice for ocean freight, we both are registered in Delhi. Question was whether this transaction would be intrastate or interstate. If I go to section 12, subsection 8 of IGST Act, if B2B supply, then the place of supply is the location of recipient. Then I should have charged CGST and Delhi SGST. But there's a provision in 12.8 IGST Act. They're saying when goods are moving from India to outside India, then POS would be destination of goods, which is Germany. So IGST leviable. So a lot of confusion was there in the month of October and November. As a freight forwarder, should I charge CGST and SGST, Delhi SGST, or I should charge IGST? If I charge IGST, whether the client registered in Delhi can take credit? This was the whole confusion. At least they have come out and provide the clarity that Bimal, you charge IGST. And you should mention state code as 96 foreign country. This has been clarified now. And of which you can avail credit even though you are registered in Delhi. That is the clarity has come out. Am I clear to all? Say in a chat box, clear to all. Say yes, that you all are clear. Write down so that I feel like, see, this session is going so one after another. And without your participation, not possible. You people are picking up so fast that whole credit, the report card will go A++ to each one of you. So Sanjeev, is GST credit allowed on residential property RCM paid to the company? See, Sanjeev, company is taking such property in the course of furtherance of business. That is my view. And credit should be available. Okay, go further. Now take the last, decriminalization of offenses. What is decriminalization? Last point. So maybe 5-7 minutes, and then some of the question answer, which is going to be asked by none other than our dynamic moderator Harsini from Zoho. So listen, the last point of the day, and then we will take up certain question answers also. In GST law, there are 12 specified offenses under section 132. 12 offenses. What they have decided now, they are saying, Bimal, the threshold for launching prosecution for offenses in GST law, is the threshold going to be increased from 1 crore to 2 crore, except when issuance of invoice without supply of goods or services, fake invoice. So first threshold increase from 1 crore to 2 crore for launching prosecution provision, except issuance of invoice without supply of goods or services. Second, out of 12 specified offences under section 132 subsection 1, 3 offences are decriminalized. So government cannot launch prosecution provision for these 3 specified offences falling under 132 subsection 1 clause G, J and K. G is when you are obstructing and stopping the officer for performing duties. J is when you may temper material evidence. And K is when you fail, as a taxpayer, you fail to furnish this information to the department. They can't launch prosecution provision. 3 specified offences. So out of 12, 3 are decriminalized. Next, they have said for compounding in GST law. Have you heard of compounding? Anyone has taken in GST law? To my mind, none has taken, and it is stated by none other than by department only. None has gone for compounding in GST law, section 138 of CGST Act. Now, compounding in GST law, existing range is from 50% to 150% of tax amount, interest and penalty. Fortunate part, they are saying now it is going to be reduced to 25% to 100%, 25% to 100%. Fortunate part. But why somebody will not take compounding in GST? For me, looks like there is specific provision under section 138 that if you have taken compounding in GST, does not mean that you are being relieved for the said offences under any other law for the time being in force. And earlier, nobody was going for compounding because of range 50% to 150%. Now at least made reasonable 25 to 100%. Let's wait and look forward what happened in time to come. So this is the decriminalization of offences. Now listen very, very carefully. The last component, and then we will have question answer session. Are you all ready to give me a quick fire reply to my chat box? Say yes in a chat box so that I feel like, yes, all of you are tuned with me. 375 participants and they're tuned for last 1 hour. Important is you all are tuned. None has gone and everyone is participating. That's we love. That this kind of passion, this kind of love and affection. Okay. Today I picked up 10 important issues and I discuss in a way that you should get maximum of it. This video would be available after 2-3 days on my YouTube channel and Zoho's YouTube channel. Zoho is taking this initiative of handholding to all of us together. Even I get this opportunity through their platform to come forward and really discuss this GST compliances. And yes, when you're writing so much of good, very, very good for me, because you people are real motivation. Your love and affection is invaluable. For me, whenever I was really occupied today, believe me, since morning 4-5 meeting I did, but still I was having passion to come Zoho's webinar today. I will do something very, very good. Hopefully, these 10 points which I did before you, you must have liked it. And you must have got everything which I wanted to deliberate upon. I discussed the provision, I discussed the law provision, I discussed where these are going contrary also. So thanking each one of you for your time, wishing each one of you a great happy new year with colorful happiness, joy, peace, prosperity. So now Hasini is back. So handing over to her for question answer. Hasini, to you as well. You should have a lot of joy, happiness, peace, prosperity to you and to whole team members of Zoho. That this should be the splendid year for all of us together.
Thank you so much, Bimalji. We wish you the same. There's already so much love that's pouring in for you in the chat. And people have made time after holidays, right? So this is exactly 1 week after they're back from New Year's and Christmas Eve. And we hope this session was really helpful for you. And we'd love to take some questions. So if you have any questions, please post them on the questions tab so that I can project it on the screen and Bimalji can answer them for you. So let's take the first question. This is from Mr. Mishra. So I'm going to project it on the screen. So question number 1 is rent for office is 3 lakhs per month and 3 co-owners A, B, C. A is registered in GST and charging GST on rent on 1 lakh. B and C unregistered, so not charging GST on rent. Then for GST on rent of B and C, who's responsible to pay?
See, it is a supplier. Except the residential property, if it is commercial property, then we have to really understand. Now, there are 3 co-owners. Please try to understand, Mr. Mishra. There are 3 co-owners. Now, we have to see from individual owner perspective, A, B, and C, are they exceeding the threshold of 20 lakh rupees? If they are not exceeding in their individual capacity, of aggregate turnover 20 lakh, then they need not require to charge GST. So for you, my advice is if A is registered because of he has taken registration and his aggregate turnover is more than 20 lakh rupees, only A should charge GST and B and C can take, because their threshold is less than 20 lakh aggregate turnover, they need not require to charge GST. That would be my answer. So GD Mishra ji, I tried my best to give you opinion on this.
Next question is from Mr. Atul. It's a big question for you, Bimalji. So he said in one of our cases, in our client, the order was passed before and we applied for rectification of the same and it was rejected. So now when we want to appeal, it is not allowing as it does not show a portion for payment. So please guide us how to appeal on.
Atul, these are the problem now going to the High Court. There's no reasonable alternate remedy, and for that reason we are finding many judgment coming from the High Court only for such revocation. So whatever factual you have narrated here, if that alternative remedy is not available to you, Atul, my advice to you would be writ petition before the High Court.
Next question is from Mr. Anurag. Anurag is like, if one invoice coming in our 2B does not relate to us, that should be reverse it in the reversal column or remove it from all other ITC column.
Now 3B has shown where to show everything. If it is not related to you, Anurag, for simple, you should not avail this credit, but you should make a mention of it to be this much and then reversal of this much, so that it is identifiable that this portion you have reversed it. Do not do net off. That is the only point, and which is what required as per new disclosures from September 2022 in GSTR 3B. Anurag, hope I'm clear to you.
Next question is from Pratik Jain. Pratik is, sir, what is the provision number or rule number for which you took the example of Korea to US transaction?
Pratik is the naughty boy for me. So I'm loving him because that is the reason I'm saying on public domain. Pratik, am I right? So don't take, it is love and affection for you only. That is the reason I sounded like this. There's nothing like this Schedule 3 transaction. And this is the applicable provision which talk about para 7 and para 8, Pratik. Though this was amended from 1st February 2019, but now GST Council has said it is retrospectively applicable from July 1, 2017. Hope, Pratik, clear?
So the next question is from Mr. Rohit. Rohit asks, a composition dealer selling goods can also provide services up to 10% of turnover at 1% rate.
Specified limit, within the limit, of course, he can do that, Rohit. There is no bar per se. That you can always, now this is being allowed even apart from selling the goods, you can provide up to a specified limit also. Rohit, possible.
Next question is from Mr. Kushal. Export logistics company charging IGST, both of us registered under same state. Logistics company is charging IGST. Can we claim credit?
Kushal, this question should not have come. I have explained that it is possible. Now, here another problem is, Kushal, I understand what is the point he wanted to draw here. I can understand this point. And let me explain this part so that we can get real clarity to it for everyone. Export logistic company is a logistic company charging IGST. And both of us registered under the same state. Logistic company charging IGST can be claimed credit. Now, question is, if both of you are registered in same state, we have to only look at place of supply. So where the warehouse is located, that is the point we are looking at. Where this warehouse is located. Let's say I'm a landlord. I got warehouse in Haryana. So registered in Delhi, but my warehouse located in Haryana. And my client is again Delhi registered. So supplier, recipient registered in Delhi, but warehouse located in Haryana. So when we look at this provision POS, it is IGST and place of supply would be Haryana, for which credit will not be available in Delhi registration. That is the issue. Kunal, am I right? That is the issue today as on date, and which we are raising and raising the concern as well. That with this process, India is not one nation, one tax, one market. Is it possible? Is it possible? And that's the point coming out. Is it possible that this IGST credit should be made available even daily registration? Because it is in the course of furtherance of business. But I'm finding there is a dispute pertaining to this point because of POS. And since Haryana is collecting the tax, why Delhi will get the credit? That is the dispute, and that is the region, hotel stay, lot many things. We are on the myth of one nation, one tax, one market. Sorry to say that, but I could understand your problem, which you said to me. Kushal Kausal Saha, hope you got my point, but disputed one. Yes.
Let's take last two questions for the day. So this one is going to be from Sunil. Sunil says there's also a common problem where supplier has not deposited tax but availed ITC by buyer. How buyer can comply Rule 16? ITC asked reversal from specifically before October 2022.
Sunil, need not required to be. I told you for 41 subsection 2, I referred that. I said that. As per section 41 subsection 2, any reversal prior to 1st October 2022 cannot be demanded. If that is being demanded, we must litigate the matter. That would be my answer, Sunil. Hope we are in agreement with me.
And let's take this last question for the day. This is from Mr. Arvind. Arvind says, sir, GST portal still not allowing filing of appeal online if demand order is not uploaded despite change in appeal rules.
You are right, Mr. Arvindan. This is happening. And this is what the disconnect. Prior to these order, which is there on GSTN portal, online appeal is not permissible, and we have to go and manually file the appeal. It's a practical problem, not for you, Pan India. We have raised this concern to CBIC, GST Council, and to GSTN as well. No answer as on date.
Thank you so much, Bimal ji, for answering all these questions and also taking the time out and explaining everything in detail to all of to the attendees. Attendees, I hope you had a great time with Bimal ji at his sessions, and I hope all the recent changes in GST and all your doubts about ITC and everything else is cleared now. And we keep hosting webinars with Bimal ji consistently, and we also have a few more webinars that are coming up in the upcoming months. We hope you join us there as well. And we appreciate your love for Bimal ji, and you've taken the time out after the holidays to join us. We'd like to thank all of you, and especially Bimal ji, for making every session very interactive. So he's not going to let you out until you understand the concept. So he's going to keep asking questions. You always have to have one of your hand on the laptop to say yes or a no for Bimal Jain's session. So that's how all his sessions go. So for that energy and for that spirit, thank you so much, Bimal ji. We always love watching your webinar and also being a part of it.
And let me also say for 1 minute. See, I can't let you go. To my all the participants, you all are so much, see, GST is incomplete till the time we both are connected. And I always believe GST we understand only when we are connected. So for me, I can't let you go. So be the part of Bimal Jain, be the part of initiative of Zoho Books, taking this initiative together. We can learn and we can learn together. And with this process, we can benefit each other. Win-win situation for all of us together. Me also learn a lot of things from you. Believe me, a lot of things which comes out from your side, I also learn a lot. So for me, there's a lot of space to learn, a lot of space to really improvise. But without your love and affection, everything is incomplete. Keep guiding and blessing me at all time. And thank you very much once again. And wish once again, Happy New Year to all of you, and God bless all of us together. And Hasni, to you especially. Having a happy New Year with joy, happiness, peace, and prosperity.
Same to you, Bimal ji. Same to all of you. Thank you all for joining in. We hope to see you in the next webinar. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.